Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, throw out your Lunesta and cancel your Ambien prescription, cause you're getting hit with the wokest magic podcast on the internet. This is Casually Spike, and I am your host, Dakota Marker, and I am here with my friends, Jaron Denham.
Hey, what's up?
Devin Harrison.
Hey, guys.
Bill Gantz.
Hello, everybody.
And joining the show today is my personal friend, Michael Fraggle Fragale.
What's up, guys?
So, Jaron, tell us about what we're going to be doing today.
Alright, so quick rundown is we're going to be talking about GP Vegas changes that were made in formats. Pro Tour Kaladesh is starting today. It actually started about 5 hours ago at this point. WotC is testing for our new league program, as well as we're going to do some Kaladesh draft observations. SCG Regionals is tomorrow, so we're going to be talking about our decks. And then we're going to talk about what to do if your opponent is being a flat-out jerk. And that's about what we got going on.
All right, excellent. So, we are live from Wheeling, West Virginia at Clutch Gaming. Want to go ahead and move into our first topic?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about GP Vegas real quick. So, it was announced that they're changing formats from being Legacy, Modern, and Standard to officially being Legacy, Modern, and Limited. So the format that we're playing the most of in Constructed, we're just going to nix that and do some Limited in instead. So I think it's with Aether Revolt is when GP Vegas is taking place.
Do we know why they're doing that? Have they posted anything about it?
It was all over Twitter. It was crazy. People were going to Twitter and Reddit complaining that they wanted Limited instead of Constructed format, and they said Standard is probably going to be stale at that point, so let's go ahead and do some Limited instead.
Okay, that seems reasonable. I'm glad they're listening to feedback.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe it's Channel Fireball that's doing it too. And they're the ones that are actually taking care of the TO issue and all that. Oh, is he almost off?
You are very, very close to having legs.
Oh my god, yes!
Some more room.
So, what he's referring to basically is our brand new podcasting platform. We have a raised section located in the back of the store.
About
that
2
we
feet off the ground.
It's about 2 feet off the ground, but it makes a great little discussion area for us to record the podcast in. We're going to work on getting better equipment soon. We appreciate your patience.
Back in my inventory room.
And we also apologize if you hear a crashing noise, because that's probably someone falling off the platform.
Probably me.
Very nearly was Dakota.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Just Bill's like pointing, like you're gonna fall off.
I tried to keep talking through it. I just couldn't do it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I ran out of stuff.
Okay.
All right. So, besides the recent change to GP Vegas, they also announced that at the Pro Tour for Pro Tour Kaladesh, they are changing the way they are doing single elimination pairings for the draft rounds?
No, for finals.
For finals.
For top 8. So basically what's going to happen is people that finish in first and second in the Swiss rounds are given straight up buys into the semifinals. So your third through 8th are going to play in the quarterfinals, and then you go straight. Those winners go to play 1 and 2 in the semifinals, and then it's normal.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think they did it with the last Pro Tour in Eldritch Moon. As they didn't do it. Okay,
No,
so this is brand new.
To do it on this one.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool then. I know with Eldritch Moon they were trying to make it to where there were better storylines in the latter rounds of the Swiss rounds. So in the last 2 rounds, they were making people who were like playing for platinum play for platinum effectively. So they were like 1 point short of platinum status, and they had to play it out for that. So that was really cool. But that makes it to where people were getting salty about not being able to get concessions to get their platinum because people were like just there to be there, basically. What's up, Devin?
I kind of like the new bracket. I mean, it makes sense, I think, to me. If you're going to first, it means you only have to play you only have to win 2 matches to actually win the Pro Tour. To whereas you get the 5th or below, then you have to play 4 matches total to win.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of. I think that they were pushing to get rid of people drawing into top 8.
that's basically what it comes down to, is that they were trying to avoid that. The other thing, like I said, was with the concessions. But what was really neat about not being able to draw in the top 8 now, like, you can still, obviously, but you go from being in the running for 1-2 to, I just drew in the last 2 rounds, and I'm going to go from 1-2 to, like, 7. So it makes it to where there's actually incentive to play out the last 2 rounds, other than potentially playing for platinum. Did your phone just die?
It just turned off.
Oh.
But like you talk about like the Pro Tour levels and whatnot.
Yeah.
I saw that they raised the requirements for pro points to be good in the levels.
Yes.
Platinum was 50. Now it's 52.
Yes.
Was that gold?
Gold
was
32.
30
I think, now.
It was all 3 levels are raised by 2 points.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
that seems fine.
Seems fine. Like,
you really should have to work for it.
Yeah.
The only criticism I have with the change is, you mentioned earlier about how they're trying to create better storylines.
Yeah.
But is manufacturing those storylines really, like... Because you always have the tale of, like, the underdog that comes up and, like, wins the big thing or whatever. But if WotC's trying to manufacture these stories artificially, are they really that inspiring or whatever? Or, like, interesting?
What you're looking at is, it doesn't... If you have, like, at table 5, Eric Froelich playing, like, God, give me some pro that's really hot right now. Pascal Maynard. If you have those two playing each other, and they're already pro status and Hall of Fame status, are they going to play it out to get into the top 8? Eric Frolich's going to look at Pascal Maynard and be like, you're a Platinum Pro already? You should concede to me. And that's what he'll do. He'll concede to Eric Froelich. Eric Froelich will go into the top 8, get crushed, and leave the top 8. You know, it doesn't make sense to have that storyline. But if you have, like, somebody like, I don't know, Kyle Bogamus, who's usually like a silver pro, but he's starting to get into gold, and playing against Pascal Maynard when he's still gold, but he's trying to get the platinum, like, that's a better storyline to have at table 5 and on a feature match than it would be to have Pascal versus Eric Froelich.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, especially considering they're not going to play it, whereas the other two will.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
So it's not only better for, like, the players playing, it's better for people to watch and, like, the coverage for it, too.
To be fair, for the players, it's not really better. Because if they get paired up against somebody that doesn't have a chance for gold or platinum, let alone silver, then they have to play that person. And, well, they could play that person before, and be like, listen, I need this for gold. You should concede to me. They'd be like, okay. And they would go on their merry way, and they would concede and give them gold. And whereas now, you'll have two people that are basically going for platinum, and they have to play it out. And that's kind of what happened with BBD at the Pro Tour, was he was right there to platinum, and then he had to play against somebody that had platinum, well, that didn't have platinum, and was going for it, and he lost to them, and lost his platinum because of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he got it back.
He got it back. It's okay. He's good. Yeah. He got the World Championships. He's fine. But that's what it came down to, was now you're not going to have that opportunity. And that's, speaking from a pro player's point, I can see why they'd be upset about it. But from a viewer point, I'm like, no, I want this. Would somebody like to do the next one for the leagues?
I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare before we got the show notes.
Okay, so basically what's going down is WotC is trying to test out leagues, which, if anybody knows what they are...
Didn't they try it a little while ago? Because I remember, like, some promo goblin tokens or some other, like, nonsense.
I don't really remember that.
For the most recent one was you had to have so many drafts within a certain period of time, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the one before that was you had to have
two-headed giant events.
So many two-headed giant events within a certain period of time.
And that's for the really big
cards. The oversized cards.
Yeah.
Huh.
And this one is now, for their league tryouts, they're giving out double-face servo and Thopter tokens that are in foil.
And that would have been really cool to have in the pre-release packs, like the zombie tokens.
Absolutely.
Like, I probably would have rather gotten that than the little, like, papercraft Thopter thing that nobody could assemble.
Man, that thing gave me an aneurysm.
It
ended up across the store somewhere, and all I got was the core.
I watched the instructional video, and I still couldn't put it together. So
Were you
You
here
had,
whenever I
like-
put mine together that I got the night before down in New Martinsville?
Yeah, we were. You were trying to assemble it before the pre-release on Saturday.
Yeah, and I was just like sitting there like, I got it. And then somebody told me to flip it over, and I flipped it over, and I said, no! And I threw it.
Well, because you got the front part of the instructions done, and then you looked at the back, and you were just like, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm done.
Fun side note with those papercraft Thopters, Dakota was like, hey, anyone have any they don't want? I'll take them. So he ended up with like 8 or 9 of these things, so he has full right to complain about how tough they were to put together.
I have like 3 of them sitting on my windowsill, and still like 7 still in the plastic wrap. I kind of ran out of ideas after the third one, so... Because, like, the idea is that on the back of them, it wasn't, like, specific instructions. It was just showing various configurations that you could, like, put it in. Even though none of those configurations held together very well, because they didn't cut slots for it.
Okay, so here's what's going on with the leagues. They have already picked out the format that they want to use, which is basically like a mini-master type thing. It's 3-packs sealed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So each player is given 3 packs at the beginning of the league, and they build a 30-card deck out of it. So this is going back to whenever I used to play 4-pack sealed on Magic Online, which is my absolute favorite format of all time. I absolutely love 4-pack sealed. There is nobody that can tell me any different. Each league will last 4 weeks. So if we started it today, we would end it this time next month. Each week, everybody will add a booster pack to their sealed pools, and then they will go up from there.
You can also add a booster pack after your 3 losses.
Correct. Matches consist of a single game, so you and I will play one game. We'll get 1 free mulligan at the start of the game, so you go 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and so on and so forth. And players will play against each other, earning a planeswalker point, and of course, bragging rights. So if I get trucked, then everybody can brag that they lost, that they beat me.
So, like, from a store view, like, I like the way this league looks. It gets more, like, it looks like it's designed to get more casual players into actually playing.
That's what it is.
Which, I mean, that would be awesome. There's a lot of casual players that just come to this store and, like, just gets people in. Like, it looks awesome. You get the tokens and whatnot. There's no specific date for when the stores can start this.
It just has to be by.
It just says stores will be able to participate in the league playtest soon.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, 3-pack sealed, basically, if you think about it, like, I don't know how they do, like, the pricing on these kind of things, but just, like, 3 packs and then, like, whatever, if there's any prize payout, would be, like, what, maybe $20 at most?
I would say that you'd probably charge $20 for it. But you might even want to do $30.
Well, because a normal sealed event would be about $25, which, since you are guaranteed a pack every week, and then you're also guaranteed a pack if you get 3 losses.
Yeah.
It's just curious if you would pay like the initial price and then every time you upgrade you like pay the extra bit in, or if you just pay the whole thing up front at once.
Well, I would say the best way to do it would be to pay it all at once. No, like, discounts or anything, just $25, or $25 to $30. Since it lasts 4 weeks, you're looking at getting at least 7 packs. So that would be $28 at regular MSRP.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking somewhere like here that they charge $350, I think it was still $350, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't bought booster packs forever. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, it's like $350, so you're looking at like $27.50 basically for that entire time. And then if they take 3 losses, they get an extra pack. So if you charge like $30, store's still making money. But if you do $25, then you sell just like the soda and snacks, and that's where you make up the difference in charging $25 for 4 weeks.
And I mean, the thing is too, like, that's of course if we do it without prize support. If we do it with prize support, then I would assume you'd kick in a little extra.
I would say probably $35 at that point.
Yeah.
30 to 35.
That seems reasonable.
I would say it all depends on like what the actual like set rules for like, or let's just say policy or whatever for stores to do. Because I know there's a few stores that I've seen that they do something like this already, but they do like how it says every week players will add a booster pack to the pool.
Yeah.
Now, is that included in the initial price of getting in, or is that
Yeah.
do they have to
Yeah.
buy it?
That's what we were talking about.
Basically, we said it was probably... We basically came to a consensus that it's probably just better to do it up front because, like, at minimum, a player will receive 7 packs. At maximum, they can receive it. Like, probably at
It would
10.
be 8 because I think it's as soon as they hit 3 losses.
Well, do you only play 1 match every week?
No, you play as many as you can, or you're able to, because you basically just play against all the people you can because you
Yeah.
only get to play them once.
Yeah.
And then the next week you do it again.
But
So-
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
So the minimum is 7, but depending on the number of players, like the maximum can get much higher because if you just string loss after loss,
you still only get 1 pack because it's only when you hit 3 losses.
oh, is it all? It doesn't like
It's not
reset or
every
whatever.
third loss.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
just that first three losses.
okay. So the maximum is 8 then. Okay, that seems
Yeah.
reasonable.
So
Then.
we'll figure out more once all the official rules and policies come out.
I'm super excited for it. We've
I
been
get-
wanting to do leagues forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have been talking about it for a while.
All right, so would anybody like to go on to the next one?
Sure. So next up on the list is our Kaladesh draft observations. Now, some of us have drafted Kaladesh a little, and some of us have drafted Kaladesh a lot. So there's a lot of interesting archetypes, but I feel like probably the basic archetypes that WotC wanted to do with Kaladesh are the 10 dual colored pairs, which if you look at the gold uncommons, there are 10 of them. They kind of tell you where you want to be and what you want to be doing with your specific color pair. For instance, Cloud Chaser.
Yeah.
Cloud Chaser.
Mole Drifter, you mean?
Good card. Good card.
Mole Drifter with Healing Cell.
There you go.
It's 3 blue-white for a 2/2 flying human scout. And when she enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards and you gain 2 life. Basically, blue and white have a lot of these, like, tricksy bounce spells. Like, Aerial Maneuver is probably the one that comes to mind first. Ether Trade Winds.
Impeccable timing.
I'm trying to remember, it's the White Bear, the Dwarf Artificer, 1 white. When she comes in, you can bounce a permanent to your hand.
Oh, I don't
Oh.
think I saw that one.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a common.
I don't think I've seen... Oh, you mean the aviary mechanic? I think
Yes.
it's called. Yeah.
That's it.
You mean Course Kite Fisher. Core Ground Fisher, that's what it is.
So yeah, the whole game plan with that is just to like blank and abuse like enter the battlefield effects, and other cards you can add in that have like there's a lot of Fabricate in white,
yeah,
which you can bounce a lot of that stuff for value. So you want to try and get have your top end be like these big Fabricate spells, like obviously Living the Dream,
Angel of Invention.
of course, like or if you hit a Gear Hulk, that's another good.
Yeah. We did that draft at midnight. The night the set came out, I drafted blue black, and it was probably the weakest deck at the table. But I had 2 of the Serpent that has affinity for artifacts, and that thing is just a damn house.
Oh yeah,
Rex.
that thing is absolutely solid.
Definitely a bomb.
It's a common, I think.
It is a common.
The card's dumb.
It's like I've been hearing people talking about it for a while now for Pauper because
Yeah.
it's a common.
Yeah. It goes. I believe the deck that they're talking about putting in is obviously the Affinity deck that exists in Pauper,
Yeah.
but they're also wanting to slot it into the Peregrine Drake combo decks as like a side win condition if they can't go off the Peregrine Drake in time.
I mean, it seems reasonable.
Who would have ever thought that a 5-mana 2/2 that is a free spell would be broken in Pauper, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we only had the 2-mana fairy get banned recently that did the same thing. What could be the issue?
One of the things I like about this set for drafting is like even if you do go to one of the pair colors, that you can actually have like pretty much 2 different strategies.
Yeah.
Since everything's based off of artifacts in this set, like you have blue white that's based off control, which is like swarming, or you have blue white artifact.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty interesting. I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's there's more than one way to skin a cat on this one, like because blue and white also have a lot. Like white has some of the more aggressive creatures in the set. So, like, you can go, like, a white low end and then a blue high end with stuff like the Gear Seeker Serpent to just, like, kind of finagle a blue-white aggro. probably my favorite draft strategy in terms of like the color pairs is probably black red low cost straight aggro.
Yeah.
Like you get the thriving creatures, thriving rats, and thriving grubs. Which I find it funny that gremlins, like the gremlins on Call, they start life as little worm things. That's kind of fun. Like you get those. Like the Dund Operative is really good. Embrawl Bruiser. There's the 3/2 for 3 that when you tap it, it deals a damage.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
That thing's great. Like I think they intended it to pilot vehicles, but it's also just good as an attacker.
See, what's really cool about that guy is, like you said, when he's an attacker, he basically shoots somebody for 1 and then he hits them for 3.
Yeah, so he's like a flame tongue Kavoo.
Yeah, and then there's this one guy that when he becomes tapped or something, he deals 1 damage.
Oh, the Night Operative.
Yeah, the Night Operative. So, like, I had Black and Sealed, and I also had it in that draft, like I said earlier, and I had 2 vehicles in my deck, and I had 3 Night Operatives. So I would just sit on those Operatives and let my opponent do whatever they wanted to, and be like, okay, end of turn, I'm going to crew my vehicle with these 3 Operatives, and just burn you for 3. I'm going to bolt you every turn.
Yeah, and the thing is, vehicles can be crewed more than once per
You
turn.
didn't think about that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mike just had like the light bulb moment.
I had a very aha moment just now
Like,
as Jared was explaining that.
I had a Sky Skip on board, and I think I was playing against you, actually, Bill. I had the 3 Night Operatives.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and hope for the best. And then you didn't do anything, and I said, okay, end of your turn, I'm going to crew with all 3 on the Sky Skip at once, and shot them for 3.
And like, just following up with the aggro train, their uncommon is Unlicensed Disintegration, which is probably one of my favorite kill spells in a long time. It's 1 red-black, it's an instant. Destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, that creature's controller takes 3 damage.
Yeah.
That card is nuts. I have gotten way too many scummy kills off of an Unlicensed Disintegration. I mean, like, in a lot of ways, it reminds me of Blightning from Shards of Alara.
Yeah.
Because that was, make them discard, was it discard 1 card
Discard
or
2?
2
cards.
So it was Mind Rot and then Lightning Bolt stapled together.
Yeah.
Which was nutty.
It's most of the time, whenever they did the Mind Rot with a Lightning Bolt attached to it, they got a 3/2 off of it with haste.
Oh yeah, because you could go.
You could go Blood Raid into Lightning and just wreck their day. Have you ever lived a dream of Bituminous blasting a guy into Blood Raid into a Lightning? Oh.
Man, that just sounds all kinds of wonderful.
It was great. I used to play like a for fun deck when Alara Reborn first came out, and I called it Charms Blow Pop, where I had like Prismatic Omen and like all of the charms. I played like 4 of each charm, and then I had all of the Cascade spells, including Enigma Sphinx, and I only got to Cascade all the way down from 7 to 1 once.
You should have called that deck.
Oh my god, it was beautiful.
You should have called that deck Ogres and Onions, because it's got layers.
It was really awesome whenever I, instead of got a Lightning, my opponent had no cards in hand, and I cascaded into an Esper Charm. I'm going to draw 2. That seems better.
Alright. Does anyone have any other opinions about this set?
White. Oh my god.
Hey,
White is good.
White. Oh my god. I drafted red, white vehicles. Like, I had only drafted, like, twice since the set came out. Like, I drafted 5 times the day the set came out, and then I haven't drafted again. And each time I tried to draft red, white vehicles, and I did fairly well, even without getting vehicles. There was that one I had 4 Sky Skips. And
Yeah.
I played mono white. It was the dumbest thing ever.
I remember that. You were so happy.
It was. I was like, this is mine. This is mine. I first picked and second picked 2 Sky Skips.
That card is really good.
It's so good.
I was just going to say, every time I've drafted this set, I've tried to draft different things, just trying all the different colors and archetypes. I haven't gone with one specific style yet, but So far, basically all the decks that I have drafted with white seem to do well. The one that had do the best for me was green-white artifacts.
Yeah. The servo deck in that is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Especially if Master Trinketeer. Oh, man. Oh, I had that in my seal pull. What was I? Was I green-white at that seal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was green-white. I had Master Trinketeer. And I just sat there. Like, I had Soul Ring and Sky Skiff, and he had me to where I couldn't attack. And then I dropped that Master Trinketeer, and he's like, yep, I can't attack ever again.
We had the board flooded. I think we had like 14 permanents each or so.
Yeah, and then like I had to actually, okay, you're at 16, and I started piling my creatures in the optimal block for you. And you were like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm blocking. I was actually attacking. We're planning out my attack.
And you kept building those servos.
Mm-hmm.
That's just piling them on.
And I mean, the thing is, like, going wide with green-white, like, even their uncommon is really good. Engineered Might.
Yeah, that thing's ridiculous.
Because it gives you the option of either hitting a creature with what is basically Might of Oaks.
Yeah.
Or giving your whole team +2/+2 in Vigilance.
Yeah.
And if anybody remembers Soul of Theros from M15, like, this ain't Soul of Theros, but it does a pretty good impression.
It's a very good impression of it.
What is it? 5 mana, 3 white, green?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get a choice of giving one creature +5/+5 and trample until end of turn, or giving your team +2/+2 in Vigilance until end of turn.
That card is not imbalanced. It's okay. It's fair and balanced. It's working as intended.
So, like, if you're able to go wide with Fabricate, like, you can just raffle stomp the crap out of them, and it's great.
This set is definitely very entertaining. I'm absolutely in love. I don't think I've had as much fun as I have since probably Lorwyn. And I absolutely loved Lorwyn, and I would draft that set in a heartbeat.
One deck I haven't gotten to play with yet that I really want to build at some point in draft, I haven't gotten to play the red-green energy aggro build.
Yeah.
Like, that deck looks so fun.
I actually think that deck has constructed playability, potentially.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, that too, because, like, us and our friends have been brewing different energy builds. Excuse me. We have our one friend building, like, a blue-red energy thing with Aetherworks Marvel to hit turn 4 Ulamog or Emrakul.
Yeah.
And Aetherworks Marvel casts the spell, which means you get the cast triggers on Ulamog and Emrakul.
Yep.
The negative side of that is I watched him take 16 off of Madcap. So it's kind of like
It's
Flash
not
Japan. Like, you can really benefit. Like, you can get your Emrakul, or you can just kill yourself.
That's so
on
worth
turn
it.
4.
That's so worth it. Why not?
Right?
that makes me think we need a new TV show. Cooking with Gasoline.
Featuring Madcap.
You're going to fry, or you're going to die.
Now, did you see the modern deck that they're trying with Madcap?
No.
Okay,
Come on.
so here's how it works, right? Madcap does not deal you the damage until the permanent it gets is on the battlefield.
Okay.
Which means the deck that they're brewing for Modern right now. You play Madcap skills, and the only artifacts in the deck that you run are either Platinum Angel or Platinum Empyreon. He got it.
You got it right away. Got it.
Lose.
Oh, man. And most of the decks don't run the Empyreon. They run the Angel because it's harder to get rid of the 4-power flyer.
I am in the wrong archetype. That sounds like so much fun.
It is good. It's a lot of fun. Caleb Durward was playing it on his stream probably like 2 weeks ago, and the deck was hilarious to watch, but you can tell it's not actually that great.
Oh, so it's kind of like the Eldritch Evolution thing with Allosaurus Rider that we were all losing our minds over when Eldritch Moon was being spoiled.
I mean, you all were losing your mind, and I was just like, yeah, it does that.
And I was like, what do you mean Allosaurus Rider is $20?
Yeah. Man, I used to have a playset of pre-release promos of that.
Cold Snap was such a weird set.
It really was.
For real.
So many cards got banned out of that. Rite of Flame. Oh, wait, that's the other one.
Oh, well, and I mean, not to mention, like, now we have an uncommon from Cold Snap Mishra's Bauble that's like $1 million.
Yeah, it's at, what, $30 now?
It's 23.
23? Oh, it's close.
The only reason I know that is because I'm building Suicide Zoo, and that's one of the staples.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yep.
Fun.
Yeah.
I want to play the Red White Vehicles deck too, man. Like, I just want to get
Yeah.
all the pilots.
That does look like a fun deck.
Was playing against Devin with it. We had it proxied up.
Yeah.
And he was trying to test out decks last night. I was just going, like, to face with the vehicles. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Vehicles are dumb, man.
Fleet Wheel is just...
Like, Fleet
You
Wheel.
mean Kit?
Yeah, right?
Kit.
Does that deck play any Oval Chase Dragster?
No.
No.
No, it runs
Hmm.
Smugglecopters,
Well,
Fleet
yeah.
Wheels, and Sky Sovereigns.
Mhm.
If you
Sky
pick,
Sovereign.
I think it goes 4-3-2.
The
4
Titan
Copters,
Flyer.
3 Fleet Wheel, and then 2 of the Sky
Something,
Sovereigns.
yeah, if you were paying attention to our podcast last week, we talked about how ridiculous Smuggler's Copter was. So I'm not surprised to see 4 copies of it in the deck that's designed to play vehicles.
Yeah, that's... I mean, for me, I would also play one Sky Skiff.
AKA, Jaren does
That's
love...
because you have a foil one.
Yes.
Hey, don't fault the man for his love for Scooty Puff Jr.
That's right.
Fuck Junior.
Well, I mean, there was this Facebook meme going around where it was, what did they have? It wasn't
It was,
Sky Skiff.
It was Sky Sovereign and the Looter Scooter.
Yeah, they had basically, it was a picture of Looter Scooter, and then you had Fry from Futurama in the one episode,
On the Scooty Puff Jr.
and he was on the Scooty Puff Jr. And then across on the other side of the picture, they had Sky Sovereign, and then he was riding the Scooty Puff Senior in the revised timeline or whatever.
Oh my.
And I remember seeing that picture, and I told Jared, I'm like, tell you what, I need to Photoshop this and change it over to a picture of Sky Skiff, because Sky Skiff is the real Scooty Puff Jr. Because it can be piloted by, well, I made a mistake last week where I said that Smuggler's Copter was Crew 2 instead of Crew 1. Way to go.
Yeah.
So, I guess really, like, Scooty Puff, I guess if we're getting technical, Looter Scooter is like the Scooty Puff Jr. with the extra bells and whistles. Like, maybe it has one of those little, like, tree air fresheners hanging off one of the handlebars.
No, it's got a bicycle card and a spoke.
You elected for the upgrade?
I just showed him the meme.
Can I make that my wall? Like,
I mean, you can.
Yeah, just go on. I'll send it to you on Facebook later. But anyway, do we have anything else to say about Kaladesh Limited?
Well, masterpieces win games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we only have one person here who's gotten to experience that.
Hey, buddy.
And what's funny is you ended up going 3-1 at that event, right?
Yeah, 4-1.
There were only 4 rounds.
Oh, I thought there was 5.
Well, because the thing is, I remember when we talked to you, you said you'd lost you'd lost a match.
Yeah.
Because me and Bill actually went 3-0 and split
That's
at
what it
that
was.
event.
Yeah, so I went 3-1. That match I lost. This is actually part of the reason why we're going over the discussion piece this week is because of something that happened in that match that I lost.
Oh, wow.
But it was outside interference that caused it. So
What you got, Devin?
So, kind of still on topic, off topic. So, since Pro Tours this weekend, actually today, do you think that maybe they should kind of change of how this, the tournament structure for the Pro Tour? Because, like, the way it's set up now, like, if you're good at standard or constructed and you're bad at limited, you can still, like, top 8.
Yeah.
Like, if you could go... Well, there's 10 rounds of standard. So if you go...
Well, it's 16 rounds through 2 days.
Yeah, 10 rounds.
So it's 10 rounds of standard and 6 rounds of limited.
So, like, you go 10 and 6, like, you still have a chance of getting up there.
Yeah.
Like, but if you go 5-5 in standard and you go 6-0 in draft, you're still not making top 8.
Right.
I mean, kind of weird. But, like, it kind of takes away from the whole, I think, skill aspect of the draft. Because, like, you're going with a pre-built deck, and then, I mean, I know, like, the Pro Tour is designed to sell standards, watch people, play and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well,
It's designed to sell packs.
I think they should have it more like 50-50 split for limited and constructed. That way, like, it actually shows who's better at what, like, overall.
Well, the thing that is different about the Pro Tours now is I don't know when you started paying attention to Pro Tour, but this thing where they actually do 10 rounds of constructed and then 6 rounds of limited is a fairly recent thing.
Okay.
It wasn't it's only been going on for maybe the last 4 years. It used to be to where Pro Tours would be like really random formats. Like they would be like one would be block, one would be like straight up limited. Another one would be standard and no limited. It would just be like all these random different formats. Like GP Philadelphia, I think is the last one where they didn't have draft, and it was just the debut of Modern. And the best part about that was, and this is actually why one of my favorite cards is actually banned, and why I can't play one of my favorite silly decks. There's a deck that you can play in mono red that played Blazing Shoal and like some 10 mana red spell and Raging Goblin. And you could go Raging Goblin, attack, and then Blazing Shoal it twice for 10 each, making for 21 on turn 1.
Wow.
I used to play that deck in limited. Not in limited, in standard. And like I would just play a mono red deck with like straight up burn and stuff like that and really cheap creatures. And then I would just randomly somehow get somebody for 21 on turn 1 randomly. It was awesome. But Blazing Shoal is actually banned because of a deck that Sam Black played. And do you know what deck that was?
I do not.
Infect. He played blue-green Infect with Blazing Shoals. And he played Dragonstorm with no dragons in the deck. Because Dragonstorm is a 10 mana cost red spell.
Okay.
So Blazing Shoal is banned because of Infect.
But yeah, so like overall, do you think this current setup for the tournament for Pro Tours is going good? Or do you think they could
I
change
think
it?
it's fine. I really do. I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at the logistics of it. Draft does take a while.
Yeah.
So if one day you have 2 drafts, well, yeah, you go, day 1 is draft at the beginning, and then you do constructed for 5 rounds. That's still about 10 hours out of the day. 10 to 12. And then the next day you have 2 drafts, and then you have like 2 rounds of constructed. That's still going to be kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it, just for draft, like, the actual drafting and then deck building is at least an hour and a half. So if you have 2 a day, that's 3 hours a day where Magic players are not actually playing Magic.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of time to cover.
And that's just like, it's mentally taxing.
It really is.
I mean, I really could drain a person.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, that's like why last week we were talking about when you're at the Grand Prix, because Pro Tours are just invite-only Grand Prix if you really boil them down.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we talk about packing your own supplies and making sure you stay hydrated, because it really is an endurance challenge. But yeah, that's just some interesting stuff about what's going on with the Pro Tour lately. I think it'll be very interesting. I'm excited to see what looks like it's going to be good in Standard, because we were making some predictions last week about what kind of stuff we would see. Like, obviously, a lot of Copter. I'm still expecting to see a lot of Copter, but I don't think it's going to be the powerhouse that it was during Indianapolis.
I think we're going to see a ton of Copters, but I think that because these people have had 2 weeks probably about a month to grind out what decks they think are going to be the best ones, I think they're going to have ways to deal with the Copters.
Yeah, and I mean, like we talked about last week, there's lots of answers that are very, very cheap, so I don't think we're going to have an issue dealing with them.
No.
But do we want to go ahead and move on to the next subject?
Anybody else have anything?
All right. SCG regionals are this weekend. I think they're all standard. And who's all going? I know I'm going. Jared's going.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to work.
I've got other
Colin with anoglaucoma.
Right?
Yes.
I'm the only one that can work Saturdays.
So two out of the 5 of us are going. What are you going to play?
I'm going to play White Black Control because that was the only deck I've had time to actually get together. I just basically took the shell that I had from last Standard, took out all the illegal cards, well, all the rotated cards, I should say, and I put in a lot of Kaladesh cards, and the deck seems to be running a lot better than it was when it was actually last standard. And I had 2 extra sets to put in. I think losing Silkcraft is probably going to be an issue, but I didn't really like Silkcraft in the deck anyway. So I feel that playing the 4 of Essence Extraction and 3 Grasp of Darkness instead of 4 is probably going to be a better way to go. Noxious Gearhulk is absolutely ridiculous in the deck. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I really want to play 1 Eldrazi Displacer just to mess around with it. And we're still playing the awesome tech of Providence because if it's good enough for Handlock, it's good enough for me.
Well, I mean, that seems reasonable just because, like, I think Noxious Gearhulk is probably one of the sleeper hits of the set.
Yeah.
We're just waiting to see how it'll explode. Like I said, you were talking about the Eldrazi Displacer. I feel there's a reason because all the other Gearhulks, all the other Gearhulks, I believe, have flat stats, while Noxious Gearhulk is a 5/4 with Mass. And I feel like there is a reason they gave that card 4 toughness instead of 5.
I think there's one that has 4. That's 4/5. I want to say the white one does.
Oh yeah, it is the white one.
Yeah.
Cataclysmic Gearhulk.
And I have never seen that card.
See, I was thinking you were going to say the blue one, but
The blue one, I think, is a 5/5, if
It
not a
is.
5/6.
And then the Virtuous is a 4/4. I'm on
Yes.
that train.
Yes. I actually just got one of those.
It's so good.
It is. It is. It's very good. I had one of those in Limited against Devin when I was playing Red White Vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
I had one in limited last week when I played Jund. Because pack 1 I went red black aggro, and then pack 2 I opened a Virtuous Gearhulk, so I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
It was my second draft. I went Naya, and I played Red White Vehicles, and I was like, I have a Gearhulk, and I have another green spell. I think I really want to play Naya in this with only the Gearhulk as my green spell. And there was a play where I had Gearhulk, the other green spell, a land, and Cathartic Reunion. And I was sitting there, and I was like, I really should throw away this Gearhulk, but it's a win condition. So I went Cathartic Reunion. I pitched the land and the other green spell, keeping the Gearhulk in my hand. I draw Ricky Bobby, the Speedway Fanatic, and 2 forests.
Wow. And that's how you gamble like an expert.
Well, I mean, racetrack is right across the river. I was thinking about going there after I left here tonight.
Always a fun time.
So, Devin, what are you on?
I decided on a type of green-black control / mid-range-ish deck.
So, jump.
Delirium?
It has a few cards with Delirium. It runs like Emrakul, 2 Tireless Trackers, 3 Advocates, Ishkana. Really the only thing with Delirium is the Ishkana Traverse. I'm doing 3 Liliana, 1 Obnixus, 1 Nissa Vital Force, Noxious Gearhulk. I play tested Red White aggro against a few control decks, and I didn't have too much luck with it. But I think that this week there'll be better and more refined control decks and whatnot that'll shut down aggro decks. And I think green-black decks against other control decks is going to outdo them. I think I got a better matchup against other control matchups with green-black instead of black-white.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do in Standard. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I guess, we're not going to SCG Open, but we might as well talk about what we're playing in Standard right now. Right, I don't actually have a whole lot of interest in Standard. I have a deck together. It's not good, I promise. But I am currently on the Black-Red Vampires Madness train. Right now I'm testing out Key to the City because I think
It's a Signet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just gives you discard triggers on command, which with Falcon Wrath Gorger lets you have a lot more play options. It also lets you play all your stuff at instant speed, which is really, really sweet.
Yeah, you're the only deck right now that can actually do that in Standard.
Yeah,
So that seems fair.
Well, I mean, I don't think there are any creatures in Standard right now, or at least not many of them, that have Flash natively. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Blue Gearhulk.
Yep. Reflector Mage does not have it.
No.
Oh, it'd be so good if it did.
Yeah.
Reflector Mage is already too
It's because
good.
it came off a collected company. That's why you're thinking it had Flash.
There's not too many cards in Standard right now that have Flash, besides Blue Gearhulk
And some of the
Stasis Snare.
Yeah.
Or don't some of the spirits have flash?
There's
Rattle Chains
a few
does.
spirits have
Yeah.
flash. There's a spirit
Neebleghast,
that gives all
Herald.
spirits flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the spirits have flash, and that's kind of cool. I'm kind of curious to see how that deck is going to fare now that we have all of these all this other stuff going on, and like I'm wondering if that deck just straight out gets nerfed by Ishkana existing and being a thing.
I don't know, because they get Always Watching, and
True.
the only thing that stops them with the Always Watching is that they block with Ishkana itself and like another spider.
How big is Ishkana again?
3/5.
So that means it gets nailed by Skywhaler's shot.
That's
which
correct.
Is probably one of my biggest sleeper hits for the set.
I can get on board with that too.
Like,
It is very good.
we had a big long debate on Facebook, me and Devin and a couple other people talking about what's better, Stasis Snare or Skywhaler Shot. And ultimately, because Ulamog and Avacyn are things in the format and they are scary and indestructible, we decided a 2-2 split is probably best. So if you're thinking about that question right now, that's kind of the conclusion we came to.
Like,
I
I was not involved in this discussion, although I'm in the group.
Yeah.
I actually feel that it might be 3-1 in favor of Skywhaler's Shot, because you could Stasis Snare the Ulamog, and then when they play their Avacyn, you could shoot it in response.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's the thing, too. While because Avacyn never will be able to have her shield up while her flip trigger is on the stack.
Yeah.
So, whenever they go to flip her, if you shot it in response, then it dies without flipping and you don't get pyroclasmed or whatever it is.
It's basically like
Anger of the Gods?
Well, I want to say
Ectoplasm?
Rolling Thundered. Well, Rolling Earthquake.
Rolling Earthquake.
Rolling Earthquake, yeah.
To go back in time.
Portal 3 Kingdoms, yeah. But,
Because if Earthquake is regular, you have to fly over it, which is understandable. But if it's a rolling Earthquake, you have to be on a horse or you're going to die.
yeah.
Because that makes sense.
But the other thing why I think Skywhaler Shot is actually better there is because of Avacyn herself. Because when she comes down, her trigger goes on the stack to make everything indestructible, including herself. So you can shoot her before the trigger goes off.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that when I was debating this.
Yeah. That's actually how I got Nate quite a few times whenever we were testing his Spirits build during last standard.
Yeah.
Because he would go, on turn 5, he would drop Avacyn, and I would go, okay, in response to her effect. And he'd say, yeah, I would ultimate price. And then he would just look at me weird.
You have no idea how much I miss Ultimate Price now that it rotated out. Especially since I had a playset of the F&M promo ones, which are better known as Head in a Bag.
I played 3 different arts of Ultimate Price as well as 3 different arts of Duress.
That's cool.
I had a Korean Urza Saga one that I had. I had a Angels versus Demons, and then I had the one with Kalagon on it.
From Dragons of Tarkir.
I was thinking about pulling out my 7th edition one.
That's cool.
So, anybody else want to... Oh, yeah, we still have to talk about everybody else's.
Yeah, I'm playing just straight up Green-Black Delirium with, but like some new Kaladesh stuff in it. I threw in 2 Virtuous and 1 Noxious Gearhog.
That seems fair.
Yeah, because they're just ridiculous.
I actually want to see somebody play that deck Splashing White for, oh god, I can't remember the card.
What's it do?
It reanimates an artifact.
Oh,
Refurbish.
Refurbish.
Yeah, I want to see somebody splash white for
Well,
Refurbish.
that, and then that would give me access to Skywhaler Shot.
Yeah. And
I was thinking about putting, because I haven't built a sideboard for it yet. I'm still actually assembling it. I was thinking about putting green-white lands, or green, in the sideboard and sideboarding, like... No?
I wouldn't.
No,
I mean,
'cause-
I'd
You want to
actually...
have them main deck to open up the slots. That way you're already playing those colors. Because your mana base should be based around it.
yeah, that's true.
See, if I had unlimited budget and refund or resources, I would probably try and build a Jund Delirium deck that instead of splashing white for Refurbish and Skywhaler Shot, I would splash red and play Unlicensed Disintegration and Incendiary Flow.
Yeah.
Because those cards let you put immense amounts of pressure on your opponent.
Oh, they absolutely do. And the deck by itself, it doesn't really put a lot of pressure unless they have Grim Flare on the board.
Yeah.
But Grim Flare is almost enough pressure by itself.
There's 4 of them.
Bill?
I've been fascinated with Bant humans for some reason. I just like the way it runs.
Deck's fantastic.
You put a bunch of little guys out and make them big and swing in.
Yep, that's all it is. It's a lot of fun, too.
And I mean, it seems like a lot, like I was talking about last week with like the whole Coco thing. I've been seeing people try out different Bant builds, like, because we still have Reflector Mage and Sylvan Advocate, and those cards are still very good.
He's not a human, but he still works.
Reflector Mage is a human, though.
Yep.
The Sylvan Advocate's not. I goofed. But,
it doesn't matter. He's still a 2/3 for 2.
Yeah, he's still valued.
He's a human in my book, as much as Eternal Witness is an elf.
Oh, man. But I'm telling you what, though. Standard's going to be very interesting after the Pro Tour.
It's going to be so weird. I can't wait.
Such excitement.
Hey, there's my squirrel man. I'm sorry.
I saw a squirrel.
And now on ADHD with Jared.
All right, so we're going to go into this week's topic, which is basically to see what we should do when our opponent isn't exactly giving us the best experience, or if we're not giving our opponent the best experience. Basically, just one of us being a giant jerkbag, and we really shouldn't be bad people, because bad people are bad people. We want to be cool people. We want to be good people.
I mean, generally, yeah, don't feed into it is probably my biggest advice. And then my second biggest advice, if you're ever, uncomfortable or they're, threatening, sort of being threatening or, intimidating or whatever, always, always, always call a judge, call a judge, call a judge.
You should call a judge even when they're not, even if you think they're going to.
Yeah,
See, there you go, like that.
Judge.
I like that, Judge.
I need an adult.
You are an adult.
It doesn't matter. He needs an adult.
I'm a child in spirit. Anyway. But generally, and this is even mandated in tournament rules, calling a judge whenever that kind of behavior goes on is the logical course of action and the appropriate course.
action to take.
Oh, it absolutely is the appropriate and logical course of action. Did I ever tell you guys about when I was in Columbus for regionals during the last standard that they had?
No.
My big play I had, and I called a judge before this because, let's face it, the dude was twice my size. I'm a little guy anyway, but this dude's probably 6'4", weighs probably 400 pounds or something, and he's just a giant mountain of man across the table from me, right? And I'm just I should probably call a judge. And he plays Bruna on turn 7. Windmill slams his Bruna on the table. I felt the table shake. And I'm okay. He brings back his Gisela. I'm all right. He says, I would like to go to end step. And I said, me too. And I called the judge. And the judge comes over. He's what can I help you with? And I said, I just need to make sure I'm not BSing my way through this. And I go, trigger on Hallowed Moonlight. And he looks at it, he says, okay. I draw my card, and then I put it in my graveyard, and he goes to flip his Brazella combo over. And I said, you can't, because they have to exile to come back as the 1, so they don't come back. And the judge is standing there, he's yeah, he's right. And the guy just looked at me. He was also, he I thought it was anger at first, and then I realized it was just profound sadness. And he was wow.
So
that was brutal.
So basically, a little less Michael Clark Duncan and a little more Steve Harvey.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because ain't nobody dies a little inside better than Steve Harvey on Family Feud. Devin, you had a story ready for this, right?
I've played a lot of big tournaments. I play a lot of people, and I kept come across different people. Some just get aggravated. I'm a big guy. I'm 360 some pounds right now. 6'4".
3'4".
Really, the only time I call a judge to something like that is if I can tell my opponent is angry or aggravated, they're throwing cards, not at me, but if I kill something, they just throw it at the grave, and I kind of see it, I might call a judge until then, I really don't. But you should call a judge on just actually anything that you want to question.
Yeah.
Just like anything, really. Like, if your opponent, kind of get off topic, your opponent slow plays, just call a judge, even if he's taking like a minute to think about it or whatever, just call a judge and be like, I want you to watch your slow play, because there are people that they will slow play just to beat you once, and then they'll slow play the rest of the match.
Yep.
Because if you can't beat them, it'll be 1-on-1 and they win against your 1-1.
Yep.
Really, like, you can't stress calling judge. Just call a judge on everything.
Well, not everything.
Well, not
Judge my
everything.
opponent untapped, then they skipped their upkeep and drew a card.
I would call on that. That's doing stuff out of order. That's
I mean,
winning.
if you have an effect that you wanted to play on their upkeep and they drew a card, you're welcome to do that, because they didn't give you ample time to do that. But if you basically have hit F8 on this and you're skipping everything or whatever, like, then it's fine. Like, go ahead and let them skip their upkeep. But like, you shouldn't just you should call a judge on just about everything if they're doing it wrong.
A story I have on this one is actually from a locals. It was a GPT. I was playing semifinals to go to the finals, and this kid, I mean, he was a kid. He was like 12, 13 years old, but the judge had to tell him at least 5, 8, or 10 times. Like, it was more than 3 times. It should be like enough for a game loss. Like, almost every turn, he had a planeswalker or whatever.
Yeah.
He would draw his card, not untap, and use a planeswalker ability. Now, first few times, whatever. But like I said, he had to be told like 5 times, which to me that's enough for a game loss.
It's actually a game loss after 3.
And the judge didn't do it. But I mean, just because it was a local, but also it was still when GPTs were competitive REL, so they should have a game loss.
Did you know that you actually can't give game losses in casual REL?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't even give warnings.
You can give sort of like warnings depending on the situation and DQs.
You can give verbals,
yes,
and DQs.
Yes,
that's it. Well done.
I actually had a very bad experience when I was first starting to play Magic at a local game shop with someone being very aggressive. I was new, and I knew I was new, and we played our matches, and I got up game 1, and we were in the middle of game 2, and I had them a very low life, and I was still in the mid-teens, and they were getting very aggressive, like shaking, mad.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually ended up flipping the table, so they had a boogie
What?
moment.
You got someone to actually flip a table on you?
Well, it was because I was playing, like, Thragtusk. I was playing the Jund deck at the time. It was Return of Ravnica
Okay,
Standard.
yeah.
And they were just mad because I was a net deck. Like, I didn't know how to build a deck. I just knew I could pilot one, you know?
Yeah.
And they were playing some wonk, like, it was actually the maze running, like, deck.
They have no reason to be angry.
I know.
They have no reason.
It just was because I was new. And I actually got treated poorly on that by the shop owner. So it kind of put a negative taste in my mouth. And now I'm only just getting back into Standard because, like, I have guys to play with.
Yeah.
But, like,
I've heard this story, just a bit of a warning. That's not this shop. It's another shop.
I would not condone stuff like that.
But, I like to be respectful for opponents during, like, competitive matches. Now, in casual EDH, I will talk so much crap it's unbelievable. But that's because it's with my friends and we don't care.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know you're going to say something. Give me a minute. But the one thing, one of the things on my Magic bucket list is I want someone to get so mad they flip a table on me. Like, that is, that's hashtag life goals right there. Or Magic life goals. Okay, you can go and...
You are the supreme trash talker in EDH. You can't even, like, sugarcoat that. Like, this man, he doesn't get the sickest burns all the time. But, like, when he gets them, they're...
When I land them, they're like a tactical nuclear bomb. It's, like, they're the kind of things I can't say here, because we're being family friendly and, all that happy horse crap. But... needless to say, I promise you they're good. And if we ever get some not safe for work tapes, they will be on there.
I have an experience. Actually, one of the first standard matches I ever played in competitively was just at a little local shop. I had just started playing a few months before. I started playing limited, and I played limited for about 4 to 6 months before I got into standard. And this was back when Cobblade was a thing.
Oh.
And
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
and this guy was piloting Cobblade, and I had a mono red Goblin's Burn type deck. And I just got in quick and beat his face in, and he got so he threw his deck across the table, picked up all his stuff, and just left. That was literally like the first time I ever played Standard.
We're already obscure enough because we play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
You know? We don't need to hate on each other. We need to help each other, you know? And that's just like...
The thing we need to focus more as a community is we need to, like, realize that this, as I said last episode, this is a game. People should be welcome into our game. We should be more than happy to teach people our game. We should be happy to be with people for our game. We need to just not be a bunch of jerkbags.
And new players aren't a burden. They're an asset.
Absolutely.
Because, like, I got treated so poorly when I first started playing Magic in LGSs just because the ones around here weren't up to par. At least not in my opinion, and not with the experience like I've had here where it's been excellent. I feel this is like home, you know? And
good job, Devin.
I almost stopped playing Magic because of how I got treated at LGSs.
Golf clap for Devin.
If it wasn't for, like, my friends playing Commander on campus, which is where I learned Magic, you know, I probably wouldn't still be playing today and have the friends that I do.
See, I learned how to play Magic whenever it was Cole's birthday, actually, I think it was. And we were at his house, and our buddy had been playing since, like, 95, and we were only, like, 9? Yeah, we're only, like, 9 years old. And he bought Cole a starter deck from 99, and I learned how to play off of a deck that lost because it was the Green Flyer deck. And I got trucked, but I was like, you know what? This seems like it'll be a lot of fun. Like, I should definitely, like, look into this. And then I played in an Urza Saga pre-release, and I cracked a Tolarian Academy.
Talking about cards that get banned in Standard.
Yeah, that card was legal a week.
Do you still have that? Man, that's the kind of stories where, like, I had special experiences with stuff. Like, I have a hard time getting rid of some of my cards, like, because a lot of the cards in my collection aren't special because they're good or they're powerful, but because of the experiences tied to those cards. Like, for example, I have the Massacre Worm in my collection. You might have seen it, Mike. I have a Massacre Worm. It's a mythic rare from Mirrodin Besieged, but that card holds the distinction of the first mythic I ever opened at a pre-release. And, like, the thing was, in Mirrodin Besieged, all the creatures were really tiny.
Yep.
And that card was ridiculous.
I actually still have the first foil I opened. It was out of a Japanese pack. It was a Return to Ravnica. I have a foil Japanese cancel. I play in every
that's where I came from. The first foil I ever owned was a Spike-tailed Drake from Prophecy. I didn't even know they did foils until that.
Well, foils were still a relatively new thing back then. They started with Urza's Saga
Legacy.
or a Legacy.
Legacy. I didn't even buy anything out of Legacy or Destiny because I'm still on the Pokemon kick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody remember their first rares or anything?
No. I remember my first foil rare. Although, to be honest, this is kind of cheating because I started Magic between Magic 2010 and Zendikar. So that was still when they were making the Shards of Alara block foil packs. Yes, I know this is cheating, but my first foil rare was a foil Vicious Shadows from Shards of Alara. And that's actually the Vicious Shadows I play in my Allnap deck that you hate so much.
Oh my god.
Let's see. My first foil rare was a Raven Guildmaster from Scourge.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's 1 double blue for a creature that's a 1/1 that when it deals combat damage to a player, you remove the top 10 cards of their library from the game, and it had morph, and it for 2 and 2 blue.
Well, you know what foil I want from Scourge? The best card in the set. Scornful Egotist.
I actually had 2 of those.
You had 2 foil Scornful
Yeah.
Egotists? Man!
I thought that only came in foil that way, too.
My first foil, because I started kind of late. I started in with the Burn Around basically. Rare that I opened was a Boros Reckoner. And I was
That's
so
money.
happy because that was the card in that standard.
Oh yeah, I remember the day Boros Reckoner and Naya Zoo was a thing.
And Blasphemous Death got played.
In order to have people to stop being jerks, we should definitely, 1, call a judge. 2, be like, listen, you're not making me feel comfortable in my seat. You should probably stop doing what you're doing. You should also talk in the first person. Say, I don't feel comfortable with what you're doing, Dakota. Or whatever.
Rar.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with that. You need to stop doing that right now. But,
You're triggering me.
you should be assertive, but not, aggressive.
Yeah.
I know when I sit down at a table, I look very timid, but I'm actually, just there to party, like I said last time.
Alright, guys. So, anyway, we gotta be going now, because we got a modern GPT going on here very shortly.
As of 8 minutes ago.
As we mentioned last week, on the 21st, we will be having a buy box tournament. $5 entry, and then it is $5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
$5 entry, win a box tournament. If we have 40 people show up, first place will get 2 boxes. Second place will get a Steam Vince Expedition no matter what. We will also be doing payouts based on attendance and whatnot for top placers.
So, anyway, we will see you next time on Casually Spike. We are out.